Welcome to Lost Future Part 10.
Shouldn't Future Luke be doing that? Whatever.
Oh, right. In that case, welcome to Lost Future Part 10.
As they approach Chinatown, this encounter reminds later of Inspector Chelmey, and some questions you'd like to ask him.
Aided by Future Luke, Layton and Luke look for a way to return to the present to speak to Chelmey.
Okay, Luke, I propose that the next time a screen like this comes along, we'll voice one screen each. Deal?
My thoughts exactly, Professor.
Alright, but I go first.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Alright, we've got ourselves 40 puzzles, so let's go.
Wow, Layton's actually learning to cooperate.
Well, this is the last game in the main trilogy, so why not?
Of course. Let's take the path on the left, up here.
Don't worry, everybody. However, there are no Ewoks to be found here.
Left? That might take us back to Midland Road as well.
You're not bullshitting me, are you, Big Luke?
It will, and in half the time.
Yeah, but that's what many people say, and look what happens. They get thrown in a trap.
Professor, this is his London. I'm pretty sure he probably knows a lot more than you do.
Well, he could be lying for all I know.
Midland Road is just on the other side of that door. I'll go and open it.
Luke, no!
Of course,
Hi.
rushing in, guns blazing.
The door's locked.
Okay, I'll try and break it down then.
It can't be.
Yeah, let's
I'll
just
get
call
it.
Phoenix right. He will smash it with shoulders.
Yeah.
He'll do a better job of it than me. I just broke my arm again. Look at
Yeah.
this, you two. There's an unusual set of numbers embedded in the door. And unfortunately, we can't break it down, so I guess...
Actually, we are going to break it, because, believe it or not, even after this puzzle, the door still doesn't open for one extra... Yeah, the puzzle
So
is...
this puzzle is entirely pointless.
No, it's not technically. Like, this puzzle is indeed keeping the door locked. However, there's one more thing keeping the door stuck.
To open the door,
I'll just say
place
that.
4 numbered tiles in the blank spaces.
Knocking.
All the conditions set forth by the equations are fulfilled. Placing a numbered tile into a blank space enters it into the equations and the positions above and below that space. Anyway, what was it you were saying, Miss Shiori?
There's a basic knocking. Like you can solve a puzzle, but what about asking nicely? Too?
Don't worry, Shiro. You'll see what's behind that door.
Is there a password?
No,
Sorry, Shiroi. This isn't Diagon Alley.
So
We can't necessarily unlock it that way.
So basically, the idea is to put the numbers in correct
Oh,
position
I get it.
so that the equation makes sense. The equations, rather.
Yeah.
And...
Plus
Thinking.
5 plus 5 per 1, but 2 per... Yeah, that makes sense.
Basically, I'm doing my own calculations in my head to make sure I'll get the right answer.
Yeah, it's simple equation maths.
And you got it right.
Puzzling? I think not.
Boo!
I back in school.
Oh, but I got that from you, Professor.
Back in
Yes,
school.
but when it's me, it's funny. When it's anyone else, it isn't.
I actually really love this puzzle because back in school, I actually really loved the mathematical equations. I actually really like solving those.
Someone likes...
That's definitely one of my strongest
Professor,
suits.
No, I don't like.
Don't
Don't get me wrong. I don't like. Don't get me wrong. I don't like all math. I hate geometry, but in terms of pure calculation stuff, I actually kind of like solving equations and shit. It's really fun to me. Anyway.
The door still won't open.
Yep.
Oh boy.
If the puzzle isn't keeping the door shut, what is? Unless it needs the touch of a Layton.
Well, I suppose it's time for Plan B. This might seem too obvious, but would you two help me give this door a push?
Certainly. It does seem we've run out of other options after all. We could climb over the roof, but we have no rope, so
Ready, everyone? All together on 3.
1,
2, 3!
Ouch.
Ah!
There we go. There was a guy behind the door.
Behind the door.
Oh, what's that man doing on the ground? This fellow must have fallen asleep against the door.
How do you fall asleep against the door?
It just goes to show that
You'd
every
be
puzzle
surprised,
has an answer.
Leroy.
Where every
But
door
saying
has
that, I've known someone who's
If you
fallen
say
asleep
so,
on a vacuum
Professor.
cleaner.
Well, think fast, Professor, because that answer's coming this way and he doesn't look too happy.
That was.
Oi, what do you think you're doing? Not kicking down me napping door. You woke me up. We're terribly sorry, sir. Please understand. We had no idea you were there.
Please understand.
Not you again.
Remind me again, Theo, was the please understand thing already a thing back in 2010?
I'm out of here.
I don't know. Like, I don't remember, but... No, not really, if I recall.
I've driven that poor man off. Most of that half Cockney, half Australian accent. Shut up!
I wouldn't pay it too much heed, Professor. Perhaps we need to keep moving towards the clock shop. We're nearly there, though.
Luke, we've been walking for 2 hours. We're no nearer there.
So yeah, for the rest of the game we'll have that shortcut, but now,
Now where are we going?
Don't worry, Professor, we're going somewhere with this. Alright, I'll be Beasley.
Watch out, Professor! There's a bee over there!
Ooh, voice dialogue.
Now, Luke, I'm sure he won't hurt us, as long as we don't bother him.
If you say so.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've never seen a bee quite like this. Can you try talking to him, Luke?
I suppose I can try.
Well, look at Mr. Tall out here.
What the?
He knows a bee of distinction when he sees one.
Oh boy.
Wow. You're not like any bee I've ever met.
Isn't that what I just said? Well, it's true. I'm no run of the IFB, but I do try to blend in.
You'd probably have better luck blending in if you didn't talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever you say, smart guy. But listen, I've got something you should hear.
What?
You know those puzzles you don't get around to solving? Well, they all come hang out with me.
That's right. Basically, Granny Riddleton went on vacation, so Beasley is now handling her job.
No. She's not on
Magnetic
vacation in this.
personalities.
Remember, Pedro, she's not on vacation in this game. In this game, she retired.
Oh, right, you're right. I'm confusing games again. Don't worry. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
No grannies, but my name is Beasley. I'm gonna tell you how to peruse those puzzles now, so listen good.
Okay.
I'm all ears.
Me too.
Tap that flower over there to see a list of all the puzzles I've got. It's as simple as that.
Oh, lovely.
Every time you get a craving to solve some of the puzzles you left behind, come here. Did that all make sense? Because people tell me I do tend to drone on. Drone.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Perfect sense.
No, Luke.
No, I don't get it.
All right then. You have fun with those puzzles, and I'll be here if you need me.
Seriously, I don't get it.
Drone, it's a bee pun, Lips.
You know how bees are. You know how bees are drones to the queen.
Oh, do you have to remind me of that part, Jova?
Eh?
I wouldn't advise letting that flower get overburdened with puzzles, you follow.
Actually, no. Actually, no. Forget it. Dwebs is better at that.
Don't leave puzzles for
But then again,
tomorrow.
Beasley's a dick, so
When
you
you
know,
can
so
solve
it's only
today.
fitting that Dwebs would be the best to play him. Anyway, there
Oh,
are no
goody.
there are current-
Bibbs is Beasley.
wait a minute. Which part of what you're talking about, Dwebs? Drones, bees? What does that remind you?
I didn't get the joke.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I get that. But then you said I had to remind you about something. What were you talking about?
Yeah, you reminded me of the bit in Jupiter Ascending where bees
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that.
Thank you very much.
Nah. That's because you didn't know the secret knock, like this.
Come on. Actually, I'm playing Spring. So.
Sorry.
Go on, try the door now.
You're playing Cog, so.
Okay.
It looks like no one's here.
Ooh, well, look who's back.
Why the ominous music?
Ugh, what are you doing hiding there?
Because I want to ambiguously be creepy. I see that you learned the secret knock, dearie.
How are you not dead after 10 years?
Actually, I was the one who did the knocking. Spring, is Cog here? Around?
Actually, they traveled in time with us, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ah, there you are, Luke. Cog's in the back room. Okay, now Cog is gonna explain all about the wormhole and stuff like that.
Okay.
Ah, so you know the owners of the clock shop, Luke?
Yes, that's because I know them.
I must have forgotten to mention that earlier, but Yes, Spring and Cog have been helping me.
I thought you'd have known that, Luke.
Past Luke. He wouldn't know something that future Luke knows.
Yeah.
Took you time travel.
Alright, let's hear what he has to say.
This
Come
wasn't
on, James. You watch Doctor Who. You should be know with this kind of stuff.
I do watch Doctor Who sometimes.
This is
okay. Here we go.
This is not 13-2, so no bullshit like that.
I thought I heard voices out front. Nice to see you again, Professor. And
Luke, the professor's apprentice.
Yeah, the Professor's cleaner. Yes, Luke, of course.
Would you mind telling them about the wormhole and how it all started, Cog?
Well, it started back in 1963. Sorry, wrong show.
I think it would help to have everyone on the same page.
It'd be my pleasure. Now then, Luke!
Jesus.
The smaller Luke, that is.
Yes?
Well, I am playing him like Eddie Redmayne. Tell me, lad, what does this contraption behind me look like to you?
A big old clock.
Right you are. By my estimate, this clock is well over 100 years old. The little girl needs a lot of TLC to keep chugging along, so I spend quite a bit of time on maintenance.
Huh.
I was right in the middle of one of her gears one day when 2 family fogs burst in.
Here we are. This is going to be the price the boss was talking about.
Lockjaw.
Totally not a reference
Who's
to
Splinters?
Why don't you be
How about
Splinters?
you be Splinters?
Too right. Hey, boss, there's a big clock here. Just like you said, it's a proper antique. Look. Hey, you! What do you think you're doing barging into my shop? Get your hands off my clock!
Shut it, you old codger. You don't tell us what to do. Don't you know who you're dealing with?
My mother. Sorry. I'm dealing with a load of clocks who won't get out of my shop. I keep a civil tongue in my head if I were you, Grandad. Well, you'll get hurt and all. Now get out of the way. We've got a schedule to keep here. Or do you end up like the Grandad and Kingsman? Oh, sorry, he beat them up. What are you clothes waiting?
Actually, no, I'm Buster. What are your clothes waiting for? Get to work. If you don't get a move on, things won't be ready in time for you know who.
Voldemort?
I can't say who
Might
because
as
of
well
spoilers, dude. So roll
Sorry,
with it.
boss. We're doing our best, but Grandad has got his knickers in a twist.
Then
How
fall
dare
into the
you!
secret, you numpty.
Into the street.
The street, sorry.
I haven't used the word numpty in a while. Goodness.
This is a conversation of the most amazingly insane people ever.
You keep your filthy hands off my clock! You hear me?
We're just about on schedule. Fortunately, there's no money here, so we're safe. But we have to wait until the exact time the boss said to turn this thing on.
Ah, the family. They'll be quite an interesting band of antagonists when I faced off against them in Layton's London life.
Okay. That's all I heard before those brutes threw me out of my own shop. It wasn't until later that I found what the fogs wanted from my little clock shop. See, the family was funding the construction of a time machine by a group of scientists. I think the idea was to use it to create some kind of wormhole. But how could they do that?
You never seen Doctor Who, so...
Search me, it was all mumbo-jumbo. Something about opening up a vortex in the flow of time.
Time travel science, Professor.
Donnie Darko in a nutshell.
For whatever reason. I see.
You don't mean...
So somehow this horn time appeared in this clock of yours. That's more or less it. This clock has been ticking away for over 100 years. My guess is there's something about the clock's age caused the war point to gravitate to this spot.
I'll be right back.
Go ahead.
The wormhole, or whatever it's called, became a part of my clock. The thing is, I'm the only one who can keep the old girl running. Which means, like it or not, I'm the only person who can open and close the wormhole. I'm totally not setting anything up here.
Wow, that's really weird.
Yeah.
It's a burden, it's what it is. Once the family realized, they forced me to work the clock for them.
How oppressive. After a while, I caught wind of Cog's situation.
I wish
it goes without saying that he's not a member of the family.
Well, yeah.
In fact, the family's been nothing but a source of trouble for him.
I create life!
It certainly sounds like it.
Sorry, I have to do that every 10 minutes.
So, I approached Cog and Spring and explained my plans to them. They agreed to help, and Cog fired up the machine so that I could get my message to you.
And upon receiving your letter, I let my curiosity take Luke and myself on a journey that led here.
Which brought us to the future.
That's quite a plan you concocted, Big Luke.
It's a Batman gambit, but it worked. Thank you, but it's about to get even more interesting.
Oh boy. Oh?
Well, this is the best game of the series for a reason. Professor, with Cog's help, we can send you and Luke back to your own time. Okay. You'll be able to speak to Inspector Chelmey there.
So basically, in true...
But you will come back to put a stop to what's going on here when you've finished, won't you?
So basically, in Ocarina of Time fashion, we can now alternate between the two eras.
You of all people should know the answer to that question, Luke. I'm going to go on the next plane to Florida. Oh, sorry, wrong script. I keep my promises and I intend to solve the problem here. It's what a gentleman would do.
Thank you, Professor. That was exactly the answer I was hoping for.
And then I'll go to Florida. I wouldn't dream of leaving things here in this state. You said it yourself, Luke. The only one who can stop Herschel Layton is Herschel Layton himself.
Well, that's true. My apologies. I should never have doubted you. Despite your escapades with that attorney from over in America.
It was quite an experience. I'll just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
For now. Let me see here. Yep, you've solved at least 30 puzzles. Seems you've done enough research to take your investigation back to your own time.
So basically, if you don't get 30 puzzles, you're trapped in the future!
Hopefully you'll learn something that'll help clear out the terrible situation here. Yes, I hope so. Now then, Cog, if you would be so kind as to start up the clock.
Indeed.
I hope you'll understand if I stay here.
Yes, time paradoxes and all that shit.
I don't wish to risk distorting the events of the past any more than necessary.
I agree. We have enough bullshit time travel stories anyway. Besides which, the poor inspector's eyes would like it pop out of his head if I turned up with 2 Lukes.
I know, then it could have 2 Lukes put on his face. Wow, that actually sounds quite funny. Too bad you can't come, Big Luke.
Okay, she's all ready to go. Let's get going!
For a moment there, I thought you were going to say, let's get moving.
Nah, that's overused.
Cue the sound of a TARDIS.
Here we are.
Ugh, I feel sick.
Man up. You're alright. Luke, you look positively pea green.
Jesus.
And you're gonna have to clean up the floor.
I feel sort of seasick. My ears all stuffy in the ground. Feels like it's made of marshmallow.
Oh, that'll be time sickness. The first jump I made, I didn't feel very well either. And I wasn't even in a capsule. Well, Cog, we're going to head off now and see what we can find out. But by the way, where's your wife? Sounds good. I'll be here waiting for you. Just use a special lock and I'll let you in.
You should know, Dwebs. She's hiding. Spring is always hiding in some corner of the shop, waiting to scare anybody who comes by.
I was wondering how we'd contact you if you went back to your own time while we were out. Yep, that'd be a pain, alright. Now you two should get moving. I'd like to get home in time for dinner.
Well, I'm sure I'll always be there in time for dinner.
Go!
Alright, here we go. There she is.
I wonder what Eddie Redmayne's character's reaction would be if after screaming "go," the person doesn't even go. They just stick around there.
No, we immediately cut after that, so...
Yeah.
No
I know. That's why I'm wondering. Imagine how awkward the silence would be if they didn't go, if it just stood there.
The surroundings here certainly do seem familiar.
Phew, all this time travel's really worn me out, you know.
Yes, I could do with a rest myself, but we mustn't keep Cog waiting.
You back with us, Shira?
He could keel over at any moment.
Okay.
You're right. So shall we go and find Inspector Chelmey?
What, that bastard? That'll be our second stop. I'd like to drop by my office at the university first.
Indeed. By the
For
way,
a quick rest?
By the way, Jova, you'll be the student.
I need to check a few things
goody.
before meeting with Inspector Chelmey.
Oh, you mean that, student?
Yes,
Preparation,
yes.
my boy, is the foundation
Oh,
on which every good
goody.
investigation is built.
Right you are, Professor.
Indeed.
Now that we're back in our own time, we can reach the university in a matter of minutes by bus. Unless they're on strike again.
You see, Professor, at least here in present London we have buses, so it's not that bad when you think of perspective.
Ah, buses!
Yeah, but they might be on strike again.
Actually, no, I think your session's come. Go ahead.
And how are you doing, boy?
I'm fine, thank you. It's always a surprise to see you again.
Yep.
Again? What's this again business? I just want to give you some advice, and so... Oh,
Alright, what is it?
Let me guess.
not many folks know this, but when they solve puzzles, they learn theories.
Oh, if you're going to talk about picker-outs, we already know all about them.
Poor bastard.
Is that so? Well, who cares? It's not all that great a secret anyway.
Okay, well, thank you. We really should go now. Got a lot to do.
Wait, don't just run off like that. I have, a puzzle. Yes, that's right. I have a puzzle for you.
He's miffed at the fact that we're kind of defeating his purpose for existence.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Lost in an unfamiliar town, you ask a passerby for directions to the clock tower. He helpfully tells you,
Go straight from here. Oh, okay.
Go straight from here, then turn left in the first corner, turn right at the next corner, then turn left in the next corner. And it will be in front of you.
Assuming that you start from somewhere on the map below, where is the clock tower? Circle a letter, A to H.
Okay.
So basically it's a matter of thinking about the directions and which directions make sense depending on which letter you pick. So basically...
Yes, I noticed Tio doesn't have many roles, so
Oh yeah, sure. It's because I specifically...
Yeah, it's H.
I specifically pick roles depending on who I think will play the character better. That's why I wanted to play Cuthbert.
Hello.
Because Cuthbert, like the way Cuthbert is written, they're clearly going for a Scottish accent. So I wanted Theo to use his Kate Sif voice for that.
Yep.
Don't worry, just use a Welsh accent, because everyone confuses them anyway.
But
Yeah.
for a fun puzzle. It's in your top 10, surely.
Not really.
It was okay, I suppose. It's better to give it to me
7.8
right on the
out of
fly.
10. Too much puzzle.
Just okay. Oh, I see. You're playing it cool.
Poor Stash
You
and
don't want to
Scarpin.
let on that my puzzle knocked your socks off.
That's one way of putting it.
Poor Stash and Scarpin.
He has no purpose.
Alright, basically, sure, while you were gone, we also, basically, Big Luke stayed behind just to avoid any unnecessary time paradox shit.
Because we
Yeah.
went back to 10 time, to the present time.
How come we're bringing the parrot with us?
Well, that's the thing.
Because the parrots cannot speak.
Exactly. So technically he cannot interfere with anything.
Right, you're all doomed. Let's make our way back to my office. Now then, which bus goes to Gressenhell University?
The bus that doesn't suck.
Luke, they both suck.
I have to admit that all this time travel has got me muddled.
Oh well. That's natural, I guess.
What are we investigating now?
Alright, let's do a little
We're
recap.
we're
on that.
investigating bullshit high ticket prices. Feeling a bit disorientated, I see. I can hardly blame you. Sorry.
It's not every day that I travel to the future and meet my older self, you know.
That's one thing that I do like, They actually wrote the game thinking about the fact that it's a handheld game. So for the sake, as a handheld game should be accessible in a pick up, put down and play sort of way. So they
do you remember?
So it's nice of them to do this, especially since this is the most convoluted story of the series. It makes sense for them to do it.
And what exactly are we stopping my future self from doing?
Alright! We want to stop you, I mean him, from completing his time machine research.
Precisely. And that's why you and I were headed for Chinatown.
Exactly. Not to mention...
yes, it's become a bit less jumbled now.
Not to mention Driz is very forgetful, so I'm sure this helps him. Anyway.
We couldn't get into Chinatown before. It was at that point you said it would be useful if we could talk to the inspector.
Yes, but at the time I had no idea to be able to jump back to our own time to question him. Bumpy
Professor, are you
roads. Bumpy roads. Perhaps.
Jesus.
Perhaps? Why? What's
Perhaps
wrong?
the professor doesn't like bus travel.
Yeah.
I can't blame him.
It's something that we've come to investigate. Oh, we just about reached our stop. Oh, fuck. We'll drop by my office and then it's off to see the inspector. Wait!
Hey, Professor!
Don't pass the university, you prick!
Hey, Professor, here's a question. Which do you prefer? On normal buses or the night bus?
Chapter 5.
No buses.
The
Forgotten case.
I'll take the third option. No buses.
Basically,
I'd rather walk there.
Basically, the professor has a hunch about this particular mystery we're solving.
Just stop by my office to check something.
Yeah.
After that, we'll go and find Inspector Chelmey.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, goody, there she is.
All right, Jova, get ready.
There you are, Professor L. I see you've cancelled our lecture again this week.
Professor L?
Rosetta?
Let me guess, you're off investigating another strange mystery, aren't you?
That's right, Shiro, this is one of his students.
Rosetta. Guess what her last name is?
Fawn.
Nope.
Stone.
Oh. Miss Stone. Hello there. Yes, I'm afraid that's something rather
Yes, I
impressive.
called it.
Yes, you did. She is Rosetta Stone.
I'll be
So
holding
she can
supplementary
translate.
lectures
Subtle,
later.
very subtle.
Short.
That's something Happy Madison will come up with.
Oh, you think that's unsubtle? Wait till you see her other mannerism.
Oh, no worries, Professor L. As long as I get the credits, I don't really care.
Wow.
What kind of attitude is that, Rosetta?
Yeah,
If
Professor.
you want those credits, you'll have to earn them. Now go off and study.
And
since your topic is the stone relics of Cornwall, I say you have your work cut out for you.
Wow.
As your supervisor, I insist that you check in with me weekly until your dissertation is up to scratch. And by the way, my parents live in Cornwall, so you better...
I didn't mean to imply that I wasn't interested in my studies.
Besides, I have family in Cornwall.
And I'm very
Don't
much
piss
looking
me off.
forward to our sessions together. Not every girl has the privilege of receiving private tuition from the great Professor Layton.
What the fuck?
Yes.
What I meant was that you should check with me during office hours.
Oh, wonderful.
Shit!
Oh, you don't have to tell me twice, Professor L. I'll see you next week. I don't know what that girl's up to, but it can't be good, Professor.
Nonsense, my boy. It's all in your head.
Yes. And in case you're wondering, yes, in case you couldn't see through her subtle guise, she does in fact want to get into the professor's
A man-eater. He's actually telling him that she's a man-eater.
Whatever that means.
You're too young to know what that is. Cover your ears.
Well, I apparently know, so be careful, Professor. She might take you.
Alright, I'll be the normal.
Oh, man.
Yeah, just like you were in Last Spectre.
Herschel, my boy, I've been looking for you.
Hello there, Dean Darmona. Didn't you receive my holiday request? I haven't had a holiday in 10 years.
Oh, that. Yes, everything's in order there. It's something else that I need your help with.
Oh, great. Well, in that case, please tell me how I can be of assistance. But be quick, I got a holiday in the Costa del Sol in a
Come
week.
on, closer, my boy. What I'm about to ask you is, well, I wouldn't like anyone else to hear it.
Okay.
The thing is, I have this puzzle that I simply can't work out on my own. My darling granddaughter brought it to me, but I can't for the life of me solve the blasted thing. Basically, Teo, hold on, Teo's bird. Never mind.
I can see how that would be rather vexing.
Vexing would be putting it politely.
Luke, go away.
It's hard to feel like the king of your castle when you can't even solve your grandchildren's puzzles. True. This is a rather serious issue for me, Herschel.
Imagine if the university were to figure out.
It certainly sounds like it.
Yes. So I think I can count on you to help me work this one out.
But of course.
Thank you, old chap.
1 out of 1,000.
Yes.
Here are some matchsticks that spell out 100M. Move one of the matches to the bin to display a length that is 1/1000th of that size.
That's right. All we need to do is move one match, and we can change this from 100M to 1000 of that. One out of what Dwip says.
Yeah. It should be easy.
So, anyone want to take a guess?
I wish I could.
Sorry, Jova. It's actually it like any Layton puzzle. It's so simple in hindsight.
Yeah.
Do you have to move the one at the first end?
None of the ends.
Okay.
There we go. What does it look like now? Hold on.
Let's see if I've got this right. Just
there you go.
There you go.
Terrific. 100 100 meters becomes 10 centimeters. 10 centimeters.
There we go.
All right. Okay.
1/1000th of a meter.
Oh, that's it. My granddaughter's going to be over the moon when she hears how clever her granddad is.
I'm glad I could help.
Likewise. By the way, Herschel, I do have one more small favor to ask of you.
I'm not hoovering the lounge again. Certainly.
Let's keep the fact that you helped me with this puzzle between you, me, and the wall, shall we, my boy?
So Luke's a wall, then? Of course. You may count on me. After all, you've a reputation to maintain with your granddaughter. Okay, wall, let's go.
Oh, perceptive as always. And what about you there, young man? Can you keep a secret?
Yes.
Of course, my lips are sealed, sir.
Splendid. For that, you have my thanks.
Okay.
One last thing, Herschel. There's a young lady in your office. She said she's waiting for you. Oh boy, here we go.
Professor, I'm waiting for
But basically, Theo, the running gag with Dean Dalmona here is that his granddaughter is a very specialist in puzzles. She loves puzzles, and she's always throwing puzzles at the grandpa. And she's always asking him to solve his puzzles, and you know, he doesn't want to look embarrassed in front of her.
Oh, hello.
Leaving me alone while you go off on another adventure.
True.
What happened to her voice?
Yeah, Lana Manella for some reason doesn't do the same voice she did in Curious Village here for some reason. I don't get it.
She sounds like her Oma Chow voice.
From what I've heard, apparently she's older. This story takes a few years after Curious Village.
2 years actually. But
yeah, and puberty can take place within the 2 years. Let's see, how old is she?
Yes, you can argue that.
Never leave you behind on purpose.
By the way, too.
I'm sorry, Joe, but yeah, that's true. But her voice has dropped a full few octaves.
Well, that was done Paolo kidnapping her, but sure. Anyway, basically, have you seen that Curious Village playthrough? Like I warned.
Not entirely, but I'm on a good point.
Okay, basically, Flora is to understand the deal with Flora and who she is. You have to kind of get to the end of that game. So that's kind of
okay.
Oh no! It's simple. She's basically
Layton's adopted daughter. Basically, the same way that Phoenix has an adopted daughter, so does Layton. Anyway.
Wait, hold on. She's Layton's adopted daughter?
Yeah,
I don't recall them. Oh yeah, you're right. Well,
Phoenix has an adopted daughter. Trucy? I mean,
no, I was talking about Layton. Really, with Flora, I heard that was just an assumption, a presumption that she's Layton's adopted daughter.
She is. I mean, she lives with him, so... Anyway.
The same way Luke lives with
him. Basically, Professor wants to leave Flora behind.
Well, I didn't see you do anything to dissuade the poor girl from coming with us, Luke.
Yeah, basically he doesn't want to involve her in something this dangerous, so he's trying to discreetly
Besides,
leave.
you know our current case is fraught with danger. I don't want her to get hurt.
Exactly. A true gentleman could not possibly lead a lady...
Finish what we came here to do so we can find the inspector. We best move quickly.
Like he told us in the beginning to Emmy, a true gentleman can allow a lady to bring a lady to danger. So.
Somewhere in my office is a leather-bound notebook with a yellow note sticking out of it.
Indeed.
Oh, you mean a post-it?
Yes. Do you think you can help me find it?
Aye, Professor. I'm on the case.
Alright, so basically, the professor, guess what? The professor actually has been doing some research of his own before this game even started.
Is this the notebook you were talking about, Professor?
Why, yes it is.
Let's see. Notes on the explosion of the intuition of polydimensional research.
Institute.
Did you gather the information in this notebook, Professor?
I did. Piece by piece. Sadly, most of its contents have been removed.
Which we'll know how and why later. Anyway.
Hey, you're right. Most of the pages have been torn out.
It's been a while since I last opened it. Let's see. Well, the newspaper clippings are still intact, at least.
Indeed.
How old are these articles, Professor?
I'll explain more on the bus. First, we need to get out of here before Flora returns. Sorry, Flora, you're a cameo again.
Ah, shit.
Don't count your chickens just yet, Dwips. That's how you say it, right?
Yes, don't count your chickens before they hatch.
That's it, thank you.
Voila. I thought you might be hungry, so I made some cucumber sand.
Oh, she studied from Professor Pickle.
Huh?
Yes.
Where did they go?
See ya, Flora. Enjoy your cameo.
See, the thing
enjoy your cameo.
You have to.
Oh, hi, Professor. About my tutoring. Hey, Professor. Where are you rushing off to now? We don't have time to talk. We're in the middle of an important investigation.
What you said?
I wasn't talking to you, Shorty. Well, Professor L. By the way, I heard that secret that you were exchanging with the dean of the college.
We are indeed following a lead in our investigation.
Right. I don't suppose I could have a second of your time before you head off, though.
No.
Didn't you hear the professor? We're in a hurry.
Now who's getting
Listen,
voices
Pipsqueak,
confused, Luke?
You might think you're the professor's spokesman, but you aren't! Did you just call me a pipsqueak?
Now, Luke, calm yourself. There's always time for a lady's request. Unless that lady is very fucking rude. What can I do for you, Rosetta?
Sleep with me. I knew you wouldn't let me down, Professor L. I've got this puzzle. I just can't get my head around, you see? Won't you help a damsel in distress?
Puzzle, you say? I think we may be able to offer some assistance. Well, Luke, maybe not. Let's have a look.
Yes, it's the puzzle of finding your way to my bed. If all you wanted was some help with a puzzle, you could have asked anyone else.
By the way, Jover, I think you did the same thing I did in the second game. Used your voice for Luke. Your voice for another character.
Blocks into space.
Actually, I was just caught between pitches, but yeah, something similar.
Oh boy, that's.
Although at least I didn't completely actually speak up in Luke's voice.
Basically,
to the point where we mistook the character
first
for Layton.
First of all, believe it or not, no, she's not just a cameo in this game, as you're going to learn in the next part. And second, well, you have to remember that unlike Amy, Flora can't really, handle herself in face of danger. So
that's not what I was talking about. I was just talking about whole.
Oh yeah, that's right. Speaking of Flora's voice, we don't know how old she is, but apparently it's to be assumed that she was at the age where puberty sets in. So over the course,
but those voices don't drop that much.
Actually, some do.
Oh, I get it.
It's because
it's the B block you need.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Actually, Shiroi, I know quite a few girls who actually have had puberty drop in a voice. Puberty is random, let's just say.
Oh, I know. I'm 22. I've been through that shit. Never again.
Quite right. The block is B, which is shaped like the letter O. When you insert that block into space and pull the letters, they spell out Layton.
That
you
was
really love
wonderful.
yourself, don't you,
Thank
Professor?
you so much, Professor. Watching you in action always takes my breath away. Oh!
Think nothing of it, Rosetta. I hope to see you next week, and be sure not to neglect your studies.
No worries, Professor. I'm looking forward to our hours of private instruction.
Jesus Christ,
She's
lady.
worse than Dwayne.
Oh, and make sure you leave your little friend at home next
Vic Layton,
time.
I should say.
He might distract me from my studies of Layton anatomy. Oh! I shouldn't say bad things about your students, Professor, but she is definitely not top of my class.
So, what's the age rating on this game again?
It is 12, right?
It's level 5, Shira. They always manage to sneak in some adult joke in there.
True.
Alright.
I'm Rosetta Stone.
Alright, see everybody. See you for the next part.
See ya.
See ya.